65, I feel like it's a massive heat wave. I was like, oh my God, it's so hot in here.
I love it. Good morning, everybody. Today's topic is thank God for this. I found something pretty
65.
interesting. Um, Pretty much all of us, I'll just round up to 100%, don't know where we want to be with our eBay business. Tech is one of the rare ones where he has decided that 250 a day is the mission. And even though he can do more than that, that's not the mission. The mission is to sell 250 a day. List 250 a day, sell 250 a day. So the reason why I say thank God is because we are not in business just for today. Everybody here can think about the future. What can we do today to make tomorrow closer to where we want to be? I'm still figuring that out. And I've been doing this for 7 years. I really, to be honest, don't know where I want to be. Do I want to be selling 1,000 items a day? Do I want to be selling 30 a day out of my garage? I'm still trying to figure out what is right for me. But it makes it really difficult when you don't know what's right for you. Because to pay my bills, I only need, I think, 30 sales a day to pay all my bills, even living in California. But maybe I set a goal. My current goal is 300 a day, which I don't need 300 a day, but I was just thinking where I want to be financially is in a place to give, which means I need to have more than I need. So everything I do is more than I need. We do this call 5 days a week. I'm making content to help as many people as possible build the life that they want, but it's a whole lot easier if you know what it is you're actually trying to do with this. Is it, I got multiple comments recently on the channel. Well, Chris, it's different for you because I'm doing this as a hobby. I'm not sure it is, because with a hobby, don't you have a goal with your hobby? I feel like most people don't want to just randomly resell whenever for their hobby. They still want to be successful. They still want to sell stuff to people. Reselling is a lot more fun when you actually make sales. I'm pretty sure is there anybody out there listening right now that lists an item hoping it won't sell? Is that fun? Isn't the reselling part to sell things for fun? Or do people like the listing part so much, they just list it so high that no one will ever buy it? So I was just thinking, thank God we're not in business only for one day. Seriously, because we would not be where we want to be, and that would be painful for most. Sally, what do you think? Why are you
Go
ahead.
I wish I hadn't said that. I just put on the chat crickets. Damn, that's like coughing when the teacher's looking at you. I have a wild idea, and that is right now I'm doing 10 and things are smoothing out, Chris. Things are finally working. I mean, they are working. And so I want to list 20 a day because it's going to be summer and I need to list more. But I have a little retail space in front of me, and I thought, wouldn't it be fun if I got to the point where I could hire some other old lady who wanted to work 4 or 5 hours a day, have her work for me, and have her run a little brick and mortar, don't get excited, where people could come in and shop from my store. Now, she wouldn't just be standing there waiting for people to come in. She'd be working for me, doing stuff too. But as people came in, ding dong, she'd say, have a seat, look at the computer. Anything on here, you get 25% off and shop out of the store. I just thought it would be fun. But I want to list 20 a day and still be done by 2 in the afternoon, 1 or 2 in the afternoon.
So 20 a day and be done by 1 or 2 in the afternoon.
Yep.
I do want to point out, I do know somebody like that. There's a gentleman named Kyle, and he's either in Wisconsin or one of those states by Canada. He has an eBay store where you can go there and shop at the store at the front of it. So at the very front of his shop is an intake place, and he's like, we buy these 20 kinds of items. So if you have one of these 20 items that we sell here, bring it and we'll pay you cash for it. Or you can shop our store. And at the front of the store, there's just 3 iPads and people can just browse through the store. He hires a full-time person to just intake the items that he is selling for his store.
I haven't thought of that. Does he sell clothes, or what does he sell, Chris?
He sells clothes, he sells handbags, he sells 20 different categories that are all very similar. By 20 different categories, I mean like jackets and sweaters being 2.
Okay.
So like, even though they're similar to list.
Well, now where's the flaw in this? I know there's a flaw in it, and I'm only telling you this because Bill is asleep. But because I promised him I wouldn't ever start another business. But what is the flaw of it? Bill would say, do you want to be in there 8 hours a day? No, I don't. That's
Yeah.
why I need to sell enough so that I can have someone who can double duty. And
so it's a good question. So what everyone please put in the comment section what you want from this, right? So if you want to own an eBay business that you don't have to work at, okay, then a couple of things have to happen. You have to have a way to get inventory. If you're not working there, that's why this guy has a brick and mortar. So people bring stuff to the store to sell.
Mhm.
He built his own way of getting stuff to come in. Is it passive? Not really, because he still has to monitor all the listings. He has to make sure the shipping still goes out, and he has to quality control what's coming in.
I would still be in there, Chris. I'd still be doing the same thing I am now because I really enjoy that aspect of it. This would just be added like a little frosting on the cupcake.
Yeah. I've only seen maybe 2 people out of maybe 50,000 resellers I've talked to that have something that's even remotely passive. And I know you're not looking for passive income, but it's kind of interesting because there's built in that type of method where people can go shop from the store on the iPad and intake stuff in. The last time I talked to him, only 2% of his sales come from people looking on the iPad. He's not even sure if that's worth having the 3 iPads there to only sell a few items a month, because people do go there to sell stuff because they need money, but they don't really shop there because he doesn't want this. Here's his issue. He doesn't want it double selling. So he's like, I don't want people browsing through the inventory because if my worker forgets to take it off of eBay, I'm screwed.
Well,
So
then I'll sell my pot
shop
brownies
eBay.
at the same time. I'll sell coffee, pot brownies, and you can browse my store.
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. So it's interesting. So the thing is, that's why we're doing this group call in the morning to figure out what people are looking for. That's why I said, thank God we're not in business only for today. Who here, they're happy with their eBay business right now? And tomorrow they just want to do what they did today. Like the reason why, Sally, it's so interesting. You said 10 is going smoothly. Why not just 10 forever? Why does it have to be 20?
Because I'm finding that seasonality is affecting my average sale price and therefore my profit margin. So in the winter where I could sell 10 coats and make an average profit of $30 or $40 because they really sell well in the Pacific Northwest and they're easy to find in the summer. In the summer, I'm going to have to sell bathing suits, and resort wear. And I have to do 20 of those in order to do the same that I did with 10 of my heavy average sale price winter items.
I love it. So these are some great goals in the chat, guys. So Pixie's saying she wants to own a home with no loan and Airbnb funded by eBay. I love that. Hanley says, be successful on eBay to fund my investment portfolio. Okay, so maybe you guys can write this down. It's just an idea that I got from somebody. If you save $6,000 a month in 10 and invest it, in 10 years, it's $1 million. Now, of course, $6,000 a month savings is hard. That's not easy. Most people don't even make $6,000 per month, but that's it. It's in your brain. If you are in this group, you can understand how to make $6,000 a month. You at least get it. Like if you're making $20 profit, that is 300 items per month. Okay, everyone still with me? That's 10 items a day. If I told you you could sell 10 items at $20 profit in a day, everyone can think of that, right? 10 items that make $20 profit. In 10 years, that's $1 million. Everyone can at least visualize what that looks like. In other industries, it's very difficult. You don't know what it takes. But here, what is your investment portfolio? I was thinking, I got married a couple of years ago. I wanted to, at least the first 10 years, have $1 million saved. So that's actually one of my bills. Each month, I have a bill at $6,000 for my investment portfolio. So in 10 years, it's $1 million. That's like the thinking behind, okay, now it's a lot easier to list 20 a day now that I know it'll be $1 million in 10 years. iPhone is using eBay to fund another business they're very passionate about. So they do 20 a day, finished by 1 p.m. and weekends off. That's a great goal. Neil says 50,000 pounds a year, listing 20 a day, selling 20 a day. I love it. That's a perfect mental model, in my opinion. 20 a day, 10 a day, 30 a day, a round number that's easy to wrap your head around. Because then it keeps you on track. And most people are super motivated by financial rewards. So you can find somebody who's really, really inconsistent, who in the group is really inconsistent, but they got a job and all of a sudden they were on time every day. Isn't that weird? Like, that guy's a bum. He's always on the couch, but he shows up at work at 9 o'clock every single day just because he has to. How come you don't have to do eBay? You should have to if you have some specific goal. Autumn is saying transition to summer is not easy. Yes, if you sell only coats, it's going to be seasonal to where you sell them, but you should be able to sell coats all year. But as Tex says, if you get an offer for a girl's North Face jacket on July 7th, maybe take the offer because that might be the only one sold that day. And it's funny because he used that example. And then that week at the flea, I found a pink girl's North Face jacket. So it's just like, you'll find them in the summer. Like Sally said, you probably just won't sell them in the summer because most people are like, oh, cold, order jacket on eBay. Let's see. Patrice is clear. She wants to sell 20 a day at 15 a day profit. I love it. That is 6 figures. I think about that number all the time. 20 items a day, $15 profit is 300 a day. That's over 100,000 a year. That's like people spend 100 grand on an MBA trying to get a degree where they can make that $300 a day. But the thing with eBay is that you wouldn't have sales Monday through Friday and have no sales on Saturday and Sunday. eBay works on a 7-day week. You get money every day. And Patrice says, if you make one extra payment per year on your home, you can save hundreds of thousands of dollars over the term of the loan. Well, depends on the size of your loan. You must be in an expensive state. But typically the advice is make a payment every week and you make 52 payments a year versus, if you make, it's like a payment every week versus every week and a third or something. So if you make 52 payments instead of 50, your loan, like you pay off your house 5 years earlier and save a huge percentage. So that's what we're talking about for how to plan, how to get to that next level. Marquez wants a team and work outside of eBay, 15 a day to invest profits for more Airbnb units. That's a fantastic goal. Greg, I haven't seen you for a while. Greg, what do you want your ideal eBay business to look like? Tough question this early in the morning. Hopefully you can chat. Oh, sorry, I need you to go back.
Hello?
Yep.
My eBay store looks like at least $1,000 a day.
That's gross or on net 1,000?
Gross, like
okay.
To sell that at least because my average sale price is around, I would say around 100 to 200.
Okay.
But it's not a lot of items. Like it's not consistently, like one day it's one day it's 2, sometimes it's 10. So I like to make that more consistent.
Okay. What can you do to make it more consistent?
Be consistent. No, well, I'm trying to make a plan with my team here, with me and my mom, and she takes pictures and I upload, and but we're also get unfocused because we're trying to make a website at the same time, and so we have a guy in India helping us, and so I'm trying to upload and watch the guy who's uploading onto our website, and so that makes my time like unfocused on what I need to do, the same thing every day, but trying to get there.
So do you think to get there, you need to specialize in, like, let's just say it's selling 6 a day.
Yeah.
Do you think that's having a really large inventory or being really specific in one niche? What do you think?
The problem with our store is like the price points are so different. Like I have items that are $20 and $10, and items that are like,
Yep.
very expensive, right? So once in a while I'll sell something really expensive, and I'm like, oh, did that affect our whole store? Because now eBay thinks we're only selling expensive stuff, and then once in a while we'll sell a lot of silver items under $100. So I'm like, oh, is that messing up my average per sale? Like I get confused, So, and I've been doing that for a while. I've been in the group for a while and listening to all you guys. So because it's a different niche, I'm like, oh, well, their niche is clothing, my niche is jewelry. It's a totally different thing. But so, and then now gold is like at $2,000 an ounce. So I feel like every month I have to like raise prices, I have to raise it up 5%. So, or 10%, or so that affects the people who are watching my merchandise too. So I have to go with what's going on too. Like, oh, okay, this ring is not that price anymore because now it has a little bit more value. So that affects my store too.
Okay, so I want to give you guys a couple of examples.
Okay.
You have to decide and figure out what your sell-through rate is. So as an example, I'm going to give you guys a store that I follow now because somebody showed me. This lady wants to make $1,000 profit a sale. Okay. She sells only Rolex. So if you look at her store, this is a masterclass on like why white photos don't make sense. Because if you're buying a pre-owned Rolex, you probably want to see what it looks like on your wrist. So most of these photos are like that, right? It makes sense. So she wants to make $1,000 per sale, and she wants to make $5,000 per month. Everyone follow? Sorry, my water boiler sings. Hold on, I'll wait for it to stop. Wow, what a buzzkill. Hold on 1 second, guys. Okay.
All good Asian appliances sing at the end, Chris.
I know. So, okay, we have this lady wants to make $1,000 per sale. And she wants to make 5,000 per month. So this is her store, right? So she needs to sell 5 Rolex per month to meet her goal. And if you look at her solds, she's sold 14 or 17. So she's right at that, selling 5 or more per month, right? And of course, this is a kind of an extreme category, but she has figured out that she needs 150 Rolex in stock in order to do that. So 150 Rolex in stock to sell 5 a month, 1,000 profit.
Is she doing consignment, or is it she's bankrolling all those? Because that's a lot of bankroll.
I know, it's like $8 million
what I was
in
thinking,
inventory.
Mandy.
Because she's 100, she's making 17,000, but she's putting in 150 times 50,000. Like, your return on money is so painful.
Let me look at this.
But if you have unlimited money, let's just say you have a lot of capital, then that makes sense. You can turn a good profit.
Yeah, it's around $5 million in inventory, right? And
wait, $5 million, and she's only getting $17,000 a month.
And netting, no. She's getting she's trying to make $5,000 profit, but the let's see, she's 100,000 a month gross.
Wouldn't you get that sticking in a bank and just having the interest?
But not 100,000. She's making 1.2 million on
you
5.
wouldn't make 5% interest a month at the bank.
A month, sorry.
Yeah, it's a lot. She's like doing essentially 100,000 in sales a month, making 5. So okay, guys, to be honest, 158 Rolexes, you could list that in one day. It's 29 days of looking for Rolex. That's what it looks like. She's taking pictures of the watch on her wrist outside. She doesn't need a photo kit, anything. All she's doing is looking for these watches. They could be on consignment, but you would know that from the pictures because they're real pictures on her wrist. So would you invest, I don't know, $5 million to make 50,000 a month? Most people would. That's 12% a year. And maybe that is the model. She's doing better than, and if she's doing truly commission or consignment, then she's not risking any of her own money. And these watches sell so slowly that you could probably, like just, I don't know what her deal is, but I just think it's interesting that you can make $1,000 profit per sale. You don't have to make 10. But anyway, it is interesting, right? And if you tell somebody you're going to help them sell a $50,000 watch, you're only going to take a $1,000 commission, then this sounds wild, but this could be one person she's consigning for easily.
Have you talked to her? Do you know her?
I don't know her. Just people have
I'm
been
curious on her. I always worry about that.
Oh, this is an insane business model.
But now that they have authentication guarantees over
Yeah.
$2,000 on watches, then that reduces that.
Yeah. It's because we always joke in the group about Rolex, and like you could just sell Rolex if you wanted to. This lady only sells Rolex. Maybe she listened to the podcast and she's like, okay, I'm just going to sell that one thing. She's never going to have people that don't want it. She probably gets, she's 150 items. She probably gets 100 offers a day. Right? Because she only sells one thing. And think about this, Greg, as a jeweler, you would, if you only sold one thing, you would know what everything's worth.
Yeah.
So she's making more than 99% of resellers with only 150 items in stock, probably by herself. But I just think this is why white photos don't matter, because I think these are great photos. That's all you need. It's a real photo. She probably has it. This is not a stock photo. Also, it would be weird to be in the Rolex market and watch how the market fluctuates so much. This would be a really scary model to be in if you own the inventory. I would guess she does not own the inventory. I bet her cost of goods is zero, Patty.
Meaning you think it's consignment?
Yeah, because you think she probably didn't dish out 5 million to make 50,000 a year, unless she's just a Rolex aficionado. But I'm assuming she's just on consignment. Maybe this is just one person's collection. And eBay's authenticity guarantee helps a lot, so we don't have to worry about it. You do have to worry about fraud though, because this is a very challenging category, because people could buy your watch, remove some of the components, and then send it back. It'd be difficult to verify that. It's a very risky category. I don't recommend selling only Rolex unless you have a high tolerance for pain.
That happens to me sometimes. I sell a ring and someone takes out a stone and it says it came like that.
Yeah.
And what am I supposed to do after that? You know, if it's a big stone or it's something really clear, maybe I can make a claim to eBay. But if it's one little tiny stone, I can't do anything. So that's my risk sometimes.
Yeah. And she has no returns.
No returns. Yeah. We were like that for a while.
It doesn't mean that the buyer can't force a return by saying there's a jewel missing or is not as described. In fact, I bet every single return is a not as described, which is also very scary, right? Let's say you do a great job and you sell five a month and you get one return, item not as described. Yo, that's 20% item not as described. You know what I mean? You're basically out of business. You can't even sell, can't even screw up one. So is fraud insurance a thing for jewelers? Yes. Yeah, but yeah, it is interesting. Here in the jewelry district of San Francisco, a lot of, I would say 80% of them sell on eBay. It's part of their business model. they have the brick and mortar as well, and then they have the eBay store also. But if you walk around the Diamond District, there's just, I mean, you can tell how old school it is because everyone says power seller, right? But that's not really a thing now. People say he used to get a certificate in the mail. So if you walk down those corridors, it's all those certificates. Like because in the diamond business, you can sell somebody else's inventory. That's like common. But yeah, the ins and outs of every business, that's the whole point of being in this call, trying to become an expert. So, like, let me ask Brian, can I put you on the spot this morning? What do you know more about, shoes or clothing?
Shoes.
And does that affect what category you're in, the knowledge of it, or do you think of it more as in supply, or is that your conundrum?
I think my knowledge in shoes would be further ahead if I hadn't switched so many times. Like,
Yeah.
I originally gravitated towards shoes, and then I saw, like logically, you hear the argument of the abundance of clothes and the low cost of goods, and it makes sense. So I bought into that, and I wasn't very successful by my own mistakes. I did the mistake a lot of people do, buying stuff that was cheap, not focusing on sell through, and I tried to make that work. And even doing it it worked okay. But if I would have just spent that time in the niche of shoes, I'd just be further along.
So what is your ultimate shoe business, Brian, that you'd be happy with? How many sales a day?
Well, ultimate's hard because I think that number grows over time, but
It doesn't have to, though. I think that's the point of today's call, unless you think it always has to grow.
I kind of have the mindset where I do like the challenge of growing. Like the idea of growing is enticing to me. So I kind of think it probably would want to grow. But after looking at everything, and I talked with Isaiah and others on the shoe call yesterday, I have to be careful because I was kind of taking some of the mentality I was doing with the clothes, even put it into the shoes. Like I was getting my home runs, but I was also, because they were cheap. Like I use the example of Tom's wedge booties, right? And they'll sell, you can sell them $20-$25, but a plethora of them, and I was picking them up because they were really cheap, but it's just clogging up my store. So where I'm at right now, I want to increase ASP. I want to be 40 plus shipping or higher, and list like 15 a day. So what that's going to mean is more time sourcing, less time processing.
More time sourcing, less time processing. So Brian, I had asked Isaiah, because Isaiah said his goal is 175 shoes a week times $7 profit. And I said, why not 70 shoes times $15 profit? So like 70 instead of 175, which is way less cleaning, way less everything, but way more time on the road looking for them. And he said he wants to get great at processing. And I agree with that. But I think that if you could have one of the two skills, great at finding $15 profit shoes or great at processing $7 shoes, I think I would pick the $15 one, even though in theory, the person that can process more $7 shoes maybe can scale, but I find it difficult in reselling if you're solo and only making $7 per item.
That's a grind for sure. I don't know, like I'm shipping out a pair of $85 used New Balances. I just paid like $5 for. Like that's a lot better than shipping out 5 or 6 Tom wedge booties. Like I'm at the point I'd rather. Well, here's the thing though. Like, and I know Isaiah, he's doing auctions, so that affects sell-through rate. But like if you're doing the standard buy it now, like the desirability of an item is going to affect the sell-through rate. And so when you're getting those bronze, those cardboard level items, your sell-through rate's going to suffer. You're going to need more storage units. It just brings a whole host of other problems. At least in my opinion. Like I don't want to clean 200 shoes a week. But I don't mind going to more stores is kind of where I've settled at. Like I've kind of tried both models, and I think that's where I'm gonna settle up. And the fact that, you know, in the 100K call, like Tech was talking, and you said the same thing. In the 250K call, like there's people doing 15 items per day, making 200,000. That sounds much better than 200, 250.
I know.
$7 profits or whatever that math would add out to for me personally.
Well, the reason why I bring that up, Brian, is some people in the 250K call don't want to grow 15 and they're good. They don't want to list more than 15 ever. They're like, that would make eBay, quote unquote, not fun, listing more than 15 a day. What the fun part for them is looking for 15 amazing items every day. And 15 times $20 is 6 figures. There's so few people who net 100,000 reselling. It's crazy. So like, that's only 15 items a day, which everyone in the group can do that by themselves. It's just the sourcing part. So I'm going to ask you guys, the lady that sells Rolex, what do you think sets her apart? I'll tell you, but I'm going to have you guys guess. Why do you think she's one of the top 10 sellers of Rolex on eBay with only 150 in stock? Michael says it's an awesome wrist. Greg says rare models. Small pool of sellers. Interesting. She's a pro. Matt, that is it. So she has 20 years of experience selling luxury watches. Like if you Google her, she's been selling luxury watches for 20 years. That's why she has 158 Rolexes in her store with no returns, and people trust her. You know what I mean? It's not as very difficult.
I mean, she's a pro, but if she's only selling, let's say 20 items, I could get one, look at her description,
Yep.
put it in there because, I mean, it's a watch. We're not talking. So what makes her a pro? Is she a pro at access?
It's everything. It's how do you get them? How do you get them? Probably 90% of them, right?
Because once you get it, just list it and it sells.
Right. Well, there's also like how to reduce fraud, how to photograph it so people believe you have it, how to get it authenticated properly, how to ship it properly. She has 1-day shipping. There's a lot to it. In my opinion, I think that selling expensive items is much more difficult, way more difficult.
I was gonna say too, like even if you find one, you think it looks like just like her Rolex, there may be one little difference that's like $10,000 more. Like there's so many little things that are different on each watch. It's insane.
It's insane. So it's not for the light of heart. I just Googled her. She has 20 years of experience herself, and she was mentored by her father, who's been in the jewelry business for 35 years. I mean, sounds right, because to find 158 Rolexes, that could take someone a lifetime to find that. And she has it in her store.
And for one Rolex that's for sale probably has locally at least 500 buyers that are looking for that one Rolex. So you're competing to get it at a discount to sell it on eBay.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. So that's like, hopefully people listening are like, I'll just list 50 Rolexes. If someone out there is listening, that's cool, but do you have 15 or 20 years to put into it so you can really have the ins and outs? It's pretty hard, in my opinion.
If you go to the Rolex store, we were in Vegas. You guys know that for ASD. We went to the Rolex store, and they had a whole bunch of them in the window. Yeah. And Thomas, we went in to talk about one of the watches with them, and one guy was trying to buy a watch, and they're like, well, the list is a year and a half, and that's only a random watch.
Yeah.
Like, it's so crazy of a market.
Yeah. And that's the crazier the market, the more of an expert you need to be in. Carl was talking about how he promotes 2 different categories at 2 different rates. You would learn that in the group. How come one category he promotes at 3% and one category he promotes at 6%? Why would you do that? right? You would learn in the group, wow, one category is way less competitive. So 3%, maybe you get all the traffic. Another category, way more competitive, maybe 6% is not enough. So yeah, it's really cool thinking about how to make your listings do super well. And Brian, if you were selling 15 shoes times $20 profit a day, you'd probably be pretty happy with that. I don't know if you would need to grow bigger than that.
Yeah, I mean, that's not bad.
That's I know it's like how
Well,
long?
I don't know. I think me personally, I would, because like my store is a combination as I'm transitioning from clothes to shoes.
Yeah.
I sell 15 to 20 on day, and it's a mix, right? Like right now I'm wrapping up shipping the clothes, and I'm around there right now, and I do want more. So I guess it depends on where you're at. But if I had started from scratch and I'd been listing 15 shoes a day for 3 months, 6 months, I'd be ecstatic with that. But that goes back to your original question, like, you know, how do you know where you're happy and you don't want to try to attain more? And I guess that's an individual thing that people got to figure out.
Yes, and I think for 90% of people in this group and listening right now, 30 a day would be most of the goal that you want. So I can tell you for sure, last month I sold 21,000 items, or no, actually, yeah, 21,000 items, a little more than that. And I could tell you that is not what I want. That's 700 a day. And the margins on that are not worth it. I'm going to adjust my model.
So can I turn the
But
tables on?
it's interesting looking at what's possible.
Can I turn the tables on you a little bit, Chris?
Yeah, go for it.
So, I mean, we know at a certain point you'd love to get your eBay account back, right?
Yeah.
And so let's say that's granted. Whenever that's granted, what is your eBay goal going to be, and how does that balance with whatnot?
I'm 99% sure it would be 10 a day.
And these aren't $7 profit items. I'm assuming.
I'm thinking 10 times 15.
Huh. So that's more of a hobby then. So you would whatnot would
It's a hobby that makes $50,000 a year. I mean, like 70 times $15 profit. That is going to be something very, very like that's what I mean by hobby. Like that to me is a hobby. Why not pick a hobby that actually makes sense? Why does your hobby have to make $2 a year? Why not? Like your hobby is selling things. Why don't you want to sell more things or sell cooler things if that's your thing? Like, but like looking at, because I can tell you guys now after being in, actually, I can't really tell you what it's like being in a warehouse because I've only done it for 2 months, but I can tell you that knowing what I know now, doing it at home in a 1-car garage by myself, 10 a day, you can do some damage. 10 a day here. Let me think here. 10 times, let's say $30 average. Yeah. In your garage, in a 1-car garage, 10 by 20, you could do 109,500 a year and net half easily. So 109,000 gross. You could be in the 100K call and make $1,000 a week.
So in that example, like you could fund your daughter's education, you could go traveling, you could save for retirement.
Yep.
As a hobby.
Yep. And I could take 2 weeks off because the math on $50,000 a year with that model of 10 a day is I would probably list 11 or 12 a day so I could have a little bit of a draft bank. And that's only, let me think here, 10. It's only 8 clothing racks. So I don't even need a bin system. Bin system, you can have a much more dense system, but like 8 clothing racks that nest don't take up very much room either. So it's like, that to me now is insane. Imagine you pay 50, like Michael was asking about like Michael and Jen were talking about building a life for themselves, and they could actually do $1,000 a week in their house, in their apartment. 2,000 a week, 6 figures, that's a little bit more of an investment. Usually you need like a 2-car garage to really do that, or a little storage unit. It's hard to make 100K in one small room. You need a little bit more room, but I don't know. That's kind of mind blowing. It's weird, right? After doing all these items, I think that 10 a day would be my goal if I get my eBay account back.
Well, in your exact situation, which is different than a lot of people's, with Whatnot as your primary business at this point.
Yeah.
I mean, you could cherry pick. I mean, you could go the opposite. And you could cherry pick 10 bangers and really raise your ASP.
Yeah, I could do that.
And how long?
But,
I mean,
but it's the same for like if I.
and I know people in the group know this, but I guess since we're live on YouTube, and what you know now, and with the processes and all that, like how much time would that take per day for you to do that?
It would take 3 hours a week plus 15 minutes a day. So that's like, it would take 5 hours a week.
And that kind of goes back to what you were talking about earlier, right? Like if you were starting brand new, like you couldn't expect to get that, but like all the education, all the learning that you put into your niche, all the hours, you're at the point where you can do that. And obviously the processes and the efficiency, but that could be a goal that people could work towards.
It is weird, Brian, because I feel like I legitimately spent, I don't know, 80 hours a week thinking about eBay for the past 7 years. I've been thinking about how reselling works and supply. And now it's like so insane to me that like okay, let me back up for one moment. With 7 years experience, I still do not have enough connections and know-how to sell $30 items a day. I don't. I could not go out and like consistently every single item is $30 profit yet. I'm pretty confident I could do $20 profit. If I go out and just a normal thrift route or the flea market, I could find $10, $20 profit items every single day. $10, $30 profit items is different though, because people don't usually donate stuff that's over $30. Usually not. Right. So it's sort of like the peak, like the number that people should be basing their business on is like $30. Text 8 in the 30 model makes sense because you're not really finding over 30 unless you spend so much time out there driving around. But again, once you do that, it does become easier. But getting that actual, I just don't see realistic. Most people making more than $20 net profit per item. That seems so niche. Like you've got to be doing it for years in one category to do that.
Well, and that's what you said. You spent seven years spending 80 hours a week working on it. Like, and we've talked about the 10,000 hours to become an expert. And it goes back to that concept of consistency, right? Yeah. And focus. And how many people come into reselling with that commitment? I guess show me somebody that's been doing it for 7 years that really is doing the research. They're really trying to grow. And it would be hard not to be successful if you niche down and did all the things that we recommend. But I don't think most people do that. They have other reasons for doing it.
So the main thing is that the reward and work relationship is messed up. People want everything immediately. But all the things I've been doing since 2017, you guys have been watching me. Have you been watching me for that long? I've made YouTube videos consistently the entire time. I've been doing this call every day since 2017. I resell every single day. I'm not doing, in fact, I've definitely made more mistakes than anybody on this call, maybe everybody combined, right? Because I naturally have a squirrel tendency, but I've been doing it for so long, so consistently, that it would be unusual if I wasn't. It would be unusual if I wasn't successful at this, to be honest, because I've been doing it for so long. And I haven't, even when I've been on 20 vacations since I've started this, I still had stuff, either somebody helping me ship or or scheduled listings or something to keep it going. I haven't really taken a break ever. So I now think about it forever. So if I decide to list 10 items a day at $20 profit, that's $1 million every 10 years. That's enough. I don't need more than that. Most people don't need more than that.
Well, I was just thinking as you were talking, like how long does it take to go to med school? Like to become a
To do
doctor? To go to medical school, become a doctor.
8 years, maybe.
Okay. And then you're going to come out
Residency.
what, I don't know, maybe $250,000 ballpark. But what if somebody said from day one, you've never resold anything? Say, hey, I'm gonna put you in reseller, the equivalent of medical school, reseller selling school. And in 7 years from now, you can be making 250, 300,000 if you put the time into it.
Yeah.
I mean, but I don't think, I think this is a thing. Most people don't take reselling as seriously. Maybe they don't see the potential and they don't take it as seriously. So without those habits, those routines, you're not going to get those same results. But it's just kind of interesting thinking about.
So I want to share with you guys, because I'm kind of annoyed, to be honest, that so many people keep saying, well, Chris, I'm doing this as a hobby. Guys, there are people who do surgery as a hobby. Okay, like there are surgeons that they definitely don't need money, but they like doing surgery. And every time they do it, they get $50,000 because that's how much it costs to get a brain surgery. Maybe they're a brain surgeon, but they like doing it. What is there some kind of reason that hobbies can't make money? They can also they don't have to make money, but they can. I'm just confused by why so many people are allergic to talking about it like a business. It doesn't make any sense. It's like it can also make money and be fun. In fact, and I always make the argument, I think people who are selling the most stuff have fun. Man, look at all these customers who want to buy stuff from me. I'm having a really bad day. That doesn't even make sense. You wouldn't even have time to be unhappy because you're making all these people happy all day. Linda says she does surgery for fun. See, it's like, what's not like, okay, this should drive it home. If you are a doctor and you're a general practitioner, your insurance is higher than a specialist. That should make sense, right? Because you're an everything doctor. A knee surgeon pays less in premiums than a everything doctor because a knee surgeon only does one thing. Pixie?
Yeah, maybe it's, and not being accusatory, but maybe, earlier in my journey, saying that it was a hobby maybe take some responsibility off of yourself.
Yeah, maybe that's so. I don't have to be consistent. I don't have to do any of these things because it's a hobby, right? I just think, like, I was just listening to Gary Keller again, Pixie, and he was talking about he has a whole bunch of friends that are really good guitarists. And they said, if you're really, really good at scales, you'll be decent at the guitar. So just commit yourself to doing scales regularly forever. So he did, and he's a great guitarist just from that. So like, if your hobby is to resell, why wouldn't you want a listing habit? Even 5 a day, 2 a day. One of my workers has an Etsy shop. She sells 2 to 3 a day. She lists 2 to 3 a day. She has a blast. What's wrong with that? When she stops listing, her sales stop. That's less fun. iPhone, what's up?
I was just going to add to that, like, yeah, any hobby, let's say you climb Mount Everest or you like to climb mountains, would not just go do it any kind of way. You would do it the way that it's supposed to be done, even though it's a hobby.
Yeah, how come you have to be sloppy when it's a hobby, right? Sai says some people confuse hobby with part-time. Yeah, I'm just thinking about, I don't know why people confuse hobby with part-time, but I think it does make sense. But I think you can be a hobby expert. Just be a hobby expert. What's wrong with that? If you say the play, if you tell people you play the guitar, but you can't play Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, it's not impressive. Like you should be able to at least play a couple songs you like. I don't know. It's just like, well, so I don't get it. I really am confused by that. I just keep getting this comment like, your advice is not for hobby sellers. Yes, it is. It is. It's for everyone. iPhone, do you have another comment?
Sorry, I didn't let my hand
You're
down.
all good. We'll go to Michael in just a second, but Marcus says his hobby is fitness, but he does it correctly. Yeah, like I definitely don't want to do squats incorrectly. Injury is not fun. Right? So if you're listing items that never sell, you're injuring your store. I'd rather have a store that's 100 items and all of them are awesome than thousands and thousands of items and they never sell. That's more of a nightmare than a hobby. I don't want that. Michael?
I had a question about seasonality. You and Sally are kind of touching on selling coats in the winter. And you said, well, sometimes you can sell them in the summer. What do you do with that? Do you buy coats all? And I also know on one of your videos, you said you consistently, mark down every 15 days or so.
Yep.
So if you have a coat in the summer, are you marking it down every 15 days or do you pull them off for the summer and put them? How do you deal with the seasonality of those types of things? Do you just inventory till winter or?
That's a great question. Me personally, I source the same stuff every week all year. It doesn't matter what season it is. I might make additional purchases that are seasonal. So as an example, I'm buying the same stuff every week, but during the spring and summer, I might buy more shorts or swimsuits extra just to make sure I don't have any slow times. That's what Sally was talking about earlier. Maybe in the winter, I like to buy more jackets, coats, sweaters during the winter, but my buying trend is the same all year. I'm just going to get the best stuff I can at the flea market, regardless of what it is, and list it all year. It's just some categories are really slow, like girls' jackets in the summer are not a good category, but that doesn't mean I don't buy them in the summer. And the markdown for me is not seasonal. The markdown for me is just based on age. So after 45 days, I start my 15-day discount, but it's not based on, it's summer, so I'm doing a fire sale. Because here's the thing, on a North Face jacket for $20, because it's the dead of summer, it might not sell even if it's $12, just because there's not anybody looking for it. So I'm not in a hurry to give that away in the summertime. I have enough stuff in the store that I can wait.
Would you just, why lower the price in the summer if you can get more if you wait 3 months?
That's what I mean. That's why that's why mine's not based on season.
Okay.
It's just based on age. So because it's difficult to sort your store by spring, summer, fall, winter, I just discount it by age. So that doesn't mean that sometimes a jacket will be a good deal in the winter, but I do like Warren Buffett's advice, which is like, if things are selling faster, he actually lowers the price and completely sells out. So as an example, instead of discounting your items in the summer to increase cash flow, you would quote unquote discount the summer items and make sure they all sell out to help with cash flow. In the winter, when coats are on fire, maybe discount all your coats a little bit and sell all your coats completely out. Do your cash flow up. It's a different model. Like it depends on how you do it, but I'm a fan of good value all year round.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's a really good question because seasonality is something you really have to think about in retail. We're all in retail. So Q1 and Q4 are going to be the busiest seasons for most people. And you got to think about that. Kayla, do you have feedback? Maybe not. Cindy?
I do have feedback about that. And I'm sure you probably answered this, but with the seasonality thing, say you do have space and you have like a high quality item, would it be beneficial to maybe take that item, not take it, just unlist it for a couple months and then keep it in your inventory where it is and then relist it 4 or 5 months later, as opposed to maybe having a bolo that you're gonna, I know tech says you just want to get rid of it and put the money back, but I don't know. How do you feel about that? Yeah, that's.
It takes a long
my
time
question.
to sort.
For some long tail items, I mean,
So as an example,
like a coat.
this is my answer for that. My answer for that is Christmas sells all year, Halloween sells all year, swim sells all year, coats sell all year, everything sells all year. So don't take the time to sort your inventory into, we list this in the spring, we list this in the summer, we list this in the fall, we list this in the winter, but you didn't do any listing. Just list everything as it comes in and buy the same amount of things every week. That's the part that really is killer.
And that's not what I'm asking. Like I have it listed, but instead of taking the price down, like say winter coats, instead of doing the aged inventory, should you just leave it? Like if you have wool coats, like say you have Saks Fifth Avenue coats, or you have expensive coats, instead of doing aged inventory on those, should you just leave those?
So Cindy, are you in business for only 1 year?
Yeah, no, I'm not, but I'm not a warehouse either.
Yeah, so if you're not in business for only 1 year, then it evens out.
Okay.
Because you're gonna find winter and summer items every week, right?
Yeah. And
So
I just bought
winter and summer items every week. After 1 year, you have winter and summer items in your store.
Right.
So it evens out. It's a little bit slower in the summer, but shouldn't put you out of business in the summer. Just a little bit slower. Should be a little bit busier in the winter. So you don't go on a shopping spree because you make so much money in January and December that you forget about the summer months.
Right. That's and I do, like in the summer, I will buy the winter items when they go on sale.
Yeah.
Like you did with the shorts. Remember, you were buying a bunch of shorts and then you sold them. My question is, when you have, say you bought winter items and they're really high quality items, should you discount them, heavily discount them if somebody, okay.
No.
That was my question. Like
Because
I know
like,
if it's a North Face jacket, go ahead and discount it. But if it's an item, like Tech says, if it's an item that you can't find every day, then no. I guess
this is why my example of the North Face jacket for $20. That's jacket, right?
Yeah.
If somebody's probably going to offer $7 for that in the summer, and maybe you take the $7 offer because you're not going to get another offer because they're the only person that wants that jacket at that time, right? But it doesn't make sense to discount that to $10 during the summer.
Okay.
In my opinion, because it's seasonal. And again, it may still sell for, I'm sure there's somebody out there that sold a North Face girls jacket for $20 or more in the dead of summer. But it's too much adjusting for something that evens itself out over the course of a year. Okay. You're not in business for only one season. It's too hard to time yourself and be Spirit Halloween only open for 2 months. That is a super duper advanced way of doing it, not a beginner way of doing it.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking like a worsted wool suit. You're not gonna, I don't want to do a 90-day markdown sale on. I'm just gonna leave it. I'm not gonna try and get rid of it, is what I'm saying, because it's going to come around when somebody's going to want it. I'll do a 20% off sale. Like if it's a vintage Hart Schaffner Mark suit, I don't want to 75% off it.
Yeah. I have a question for everybody, because I actually don't know. Does Spirit Halloween at the end of the season on November 1st after Halloween, do they do a discount, or do they just store everything and next year bring it back for the last 2 months? I'm not from the
clearance sale. Very marked down clearance sales.
They do?
Yes.
Okay. Because I'm just wondering, I guess there's just so much of it. It's not like it's rare. So maybe they do that discount season's over and try to clear out.
They do keep things that are not pop culture, and if there's something that they can sell the same thing over and over every year. But if it's a specific character that's new, they sell that out. But like the giant spiders, they stay in your storage.
That makes sense. But most of us don't have giant storage facilities, and like it's so advanced doing one season, keeping like you're a snow cone company, you only make money during the summer, you take 9 months off. That's like so risky. Like I would never recommend that. Guys, we're going to wait till January 1st. We're going to buy all the Christmas stuff and we're going to wait 10 months before we start working. You know what I mean? That's so risky. This lists everything, all seasons in your category.
Chris, what would you say on something like I can't buy a Carhartt jacket for 60% off in the winter. So, I'm buying for the winter in July.
Yeah.
Because then I can, store it and then I can get almost full price because it's newer tags in the winter. So subsequently I'm making 70% of my sales November, December, January.
Yeah.
So it has to do with sourcing and pricing. Newer tags, your margins are smaller, so you have to get a little closer to retail, but you can only source those at a decent profit off season. So you're sort of forced to do just exactly opposite, is to buy when you can super cheap and sell when you can almost at retail.
How many do you list a day? Because storage could be an issue. Like if you're doing Chris's level, 21,000 pieces a month, like you would have to have like an enormous warehouse just to store that.
Oh, absolutely. No, I don't have anything close to that. But
so like even if you're listing 50 a day, I mean, you're talking 350 pieces every week for the whole winter. Like you still have to have a warehouse.
Yeah. Yep. If I were at that level, I would definitely have to have.
So if you're a hobby seller, that might work. Like if you get an extra 20 jackets, but if you're like having a serious business, that doesn't work.
Yeah. I'm about 20, 30 each SKU. So I'm at getting to the point I'm going to have to start getting external storage, but I'm just wondering that theory,
when you start having to have the storage, then you're eating into your profits of what you're explaining. So
yes.
Before we go today, Jared, I just want to remind everybody that the podcast is changing times this week. It'll be on Thursdays indefinitely because of our babies due soon. So Jared is moving the car parts call and the media call, and I believe that's the main change. But Jared, do you want to talk on that a little bit?
Yeah, the car parts call will be 5:30 Eastern Standard, and media call will be 7 Eastern Standard. Same time on the media call, just on Wednesday instead of Thursday.
And both calls are on Wednesday.
Yes.
Okay.
Is that starting today?
Starting today. Oh wait, yeah, starting today.
Okay.
So media call, what time Eastern?
7 p.m. on media call.
Okay, got it. So same, just different day.
Yep.
Okay, so I've made that change in the document, and the podcast will be recorded tomorrow. I'm going to send the podcast and the coaching is at the same time, and I'm going to email everybody right now with those changes. And just a reminder for everybody out there in YouTube land, we have a beginner call that happens right after this. Tech and Sports' calls on Tuesday evening, and he'll answer every single question, every single level, 0 to 10 million a year. I do this call Monday through Friday in the morning. We have a bookkeeping and accounting call every week until tax time with Cheryl, because she's a real accountant who can give you real advice. And everyone listening really needs to be able to do their taxes in 2 hours a year. So got to get that educated about it. Car parts calls now Wednesday. Toy call. We have a book club call. Shoe category call. Women's clothing. Jewelry and antiques with Linda. Media call. YouTube and social media. Jean's call, Whatnot call with me, Jack's call with Amazon and video games. Also, I'm gonna try an event the first Friday of May for only people in this group. So you can get a ticket at dailyrefinement.com, and the ticket cost is just for lunch. Oh yeah, sorry. Women's clothing call on Wednesday with Michelle. Thank you, Michelle. And we also have resources for photography, and we just added a card call on Thursdays. Is that everything? Michelle, my bad. This is a long list. We have 14 category specific calls. So first Friday, you can get a ticket at dailyrefinement.com. It's only for people in this group. We're going to have 10 people. And if it works out, then I want to do every single month. And ideally, the goal of it will be 30 items in 3 hours live. So everybody can come watch it. And so Linda had mentioned she maybe wanted to come one week and do jewelry. So I can work around that, but I don't want a huge event because you don't really learn. So I'd like to just do people. We all learn how to do it, share it with the group. That would be very useful. I think it'd be useful. 10 people sit down, list 30 items together, have lunch, and optional happy hour. Yep. So first Friday, I'm thinking that'll be a cool event. Try it out. It would be in person, Blake, at my warehouse. So people once a month get an idea of listing. In Cali. So I just want to repeat the list again. Sorry, it's a lot. Beginner call, tech and sports call, my call, bookkeeping and accounting, car parts, toys, book club, shoe category, women's clothing, jewelry and antiques, media, YouTube and social media, Jean's call. I forgot that also, Michelle. Whatnot and other platforms, Jack's Amazon and video game, international calls in the UK and Australia. Also forgot that. And the card call. There's a lot.